Welcome to Simmons Says, where I help emerging and struggling writers create intriguing plots and compelling characters to make their stories hard to put down and even harder to forget.
Funny thing about being in a particular city or town, country, is you wander around heading for a specific location. And sometimes, if you're paying attention, you see something that makes you stop and ask yourself, what if? Now, it's like that with many creatives. In this case, we're talking writers. And every now and then I'll look at something and I'll go, wow, what if this happened and then that followed through? As a mystery writer in particular, I look for places where mysterious things, crimes, call for help, that sort of thing. And it's not always a dark and dirty area. Sometimes it's an opulent, decorative, spacious area that hides some particular secret. As a matter of fact, Sherlock Holmes is known to have said that the scenic countryside, English countryside, probably hides more horrors than all the dark streets of London. Now, I'm saying all that to say this. When you're writing a mystery, when you're creating a story, you have your characters, all right? And you're thinking, okay, I've got a crime and I have my characters and I'm going to have my investigator do whatever he or she or they are going to do to figure it out. But you don't always have an idea how. You don't know what steps they should follow in order to get to the conclusion. And in particular, you're not sure. How do you bring the readers along on that journey? I'm going to give you a couple of tips about that today. And first and foremost, if you're writing a authentic, fair mystery story, then it's not like suddenly at the end of it you declare, oh, this is the bad person, this is the villain, and it's all over. You want your audience to feel like they spotted certain things along the way. They heard certain things along the way. And if they put it all together quickly enough, they would have solved it just like your detective did. So how do you lay out those clues? How do you do that? One way in particular is A, as I've often said, start with the crime. If you don't know how the crime was committed, you really don't have enough information to figure out what kind of clues, things about your villain, your suspects, your red herrings. A lot of those things organically spring off of the original crime. Once you know who did it, who did what to whom, where, when, why, and how, then you can start leaving those breadcrumbs. So the first thing to do is know your crime. What area you're in, you walk the space. If you need to know the city differently or better, if you need to know the country area, if you need to know this particular house, building, alleyway, whatever, know that area. Get clear on where it happened, why it happened, how it happened, to whom. Work those things out first. Then you start to think about what clues would lead to that. For instance, here's three. First, what mistake could your villain have made that once someone gets wind of it, once someone picks up on it, it starts to turn the needle away from suspects to the actual villain. Now, it doesn't have to turn the needle all the way. It's one piece of several pieces. And you get to decide whether it's going to be 3 clues, 4 clues, 5 clues, whatever. But the first one is, what's one mistake that your perpetrator could have made? Secondly, where did they get the items they used in the crime? Because that could leave a trail. For instance, if they bought a gun, where did they buy it? Where did they steal it? Who did they borrow it from? What kind of bullets does it use? What caliber gun is it? Is it an old gun or a new gun? Information like that, once the detective or the sleuth gets hold of it, can help them begin to put pieces together. If your victim was shot with a high-powered rifle from a long distance, and most of your suspects don't have any kind of experience along those ways, that begins to narrow it down. Maybe out of the 5 suspects you have, 2 of them were in the military, or 2 of them are hunters and have used rifles, sniping equipment, that sort of thing. Okay. 3, hide clues in plain sight. All right. Readers shouldn't feel like the clues were invisible. There was no way that I could have seen them or found them or anything like that. So you want to make sure that the clues that you lay out are something that they could have seen, they should have heard, and possibly even remembered. And if they put those pieces together, it would have worked out. Every clue should raise another question, right? A clue isn't the answer. Remember, like I said the first time, the first clue should not point directly to the villain, unless you're going to do something to distract us along the way. It's only one of several steps that are going to point to the absolute villain, right? So, a broken watch, why did it stop at the time it did? Does it actually mark the time the crime happened? And if it does, great. A missing photograph, who would have taken it? Why was it taken, right? Stain or mud or something on shoes means that someone moved through a particular area. Is it an area where the crime took place? Don't simply provide answers, immediate, clear answers. One question should lead to another question, should lead to another question. And the idea is when you have the answers for those questions, then when you put those together, we get the solution. So, quick wrap up. Know your crime. Know how it happened, where it happened, when it happened, all of that. Choose your clues based on what occurred. Again, how it happened, who did it, where it happened. Find clues that will lead your sleuth to the right person using that information. And let your clues create additional questions that need to be answered. Again, some of that will help you eliminate your suspects, your red herrings, your distractions, the ones that, again, your audience will get all tangled up in, but your sleuth, razor focus, maybe distracted once or twice, but razor focus gets through to the right answer. If your clues don't make your detective curious, they probably won't keep your readers curious either. Okay. Now, here's a writing exercise for you. Take a mystery you're working on, write down the solution, 3 to 5 clues that naturally come from that solution, and then ask yourself, do they work? Do they point to several people or one person? If it's earlier in the story, you want it to point to several people. And again, additional clues will help whittle it down to the right person. And also ask yourself, is this a fair clue? Will my readers or the people watching my film or whatever, will they, when they get all this information, will they go, oh yeah, I should have picked up on that. Yes, that's right. He did say this. He shouldn't have known that, blah, blah, blah. Yes, that's a good, satisfying ending. Okay? Refine your clues. Once you have them and written down, rewriting, revising, that's nuance dialing. All right? So it's not a punishment, it's a privilege. So reread it several times, tweak it, make it smoother for you. Now, one more thing. If you want to go deeper into more of the mechanics of how this works, the methodologies on how this works, then join me this Saturday, August 8th, for my Write the Crime workshop. We'll explore how to build a mystery from the crime outward, creating stronger suspects, better clues, twists and turns, a climactic ending, all of that good stuff. I'll help you figure out in a 1-hour session, Saturday, August 8th. If you want to be there, which you should, click the link below. Now, go forth and be brilliant.